I can't control how I am. You know, I'm very kind of, I'll be crying one minute, I'll be laughing the next minute. And certainly with Tom, remember Tom the first year in Botswana when he was competing, I had sunglasses on the whole time when he was doing it because I was crying. I had tears in my eyes the whole time, man, because it's, you know, it's that raw emotion.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the 5-time Scotland's strongest man, the one and only Luke Stoltman, half of the spicy Stoltmans. We're only going for half. We were going to get you both on, but we decided both of these gentlemen need their own interviews and chats with Uncle Loz. So I wanted you one at a time this time. Maybe get you in together another time.
Sure, man. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be on, Loz. It's I think it was a good call because Tom's getting a bit too cocky and he never lets me speak now. So, so yeah, no, it's nice to kind of do it separately because obviously we do a lot of stuff together, the whole YouTube stuff for training, and I think it's better maybe. Obviously, if we're chatting, Tom's got a different story to tell from me, and
well, that's exactly it. And I want to focus on both of your individual stories. As you know, it's obvious that you're a real unit, and you know you're a team. The only brothers in history to make the final of World's Strongest Man, which is just an incredible achievement. And you've really grown in popularity, and you've sort of, I guess, blossomed into your own level of athlete now, because you're often Tom's brother.
Yeah.
Now it's like, Jesus, there's two of them and they're both really good.
Yeah, it's funny that, because obviously I was the first one on the scene, should we say, and I was very vocal from an early on stage in my career about Tom, and you know we've got this other brother Tom, and he's got this potential and blah blah blah. So I probably did myself an injustice by talking about him so much, but I think, you know, going off the back of the results, certainly out in Loose last year, coming second there, obviously, you know, 7th in Worlds. You know, I think I'm a great athlete without sounding cocky. You know, I've got my own.
It's not sounding cocky, mate. You've proved it over the last couple of years. To come second at WUS it's like a World's Strongest Man lineup.
Yeah,
you've been on
pretty cool. It's
the podiums. You got so close to the log record, and you're constantly, you know, in or around the competitive placings in international shows. So I don't think it's being cocky at all, mate.
I think you just got to realise that you're worth something, you know, and that's what after Dubai I really felt. That's when I start feeling, oh wait a minute, I can beat these guys, you know, beating Big Brian, JF Caron, you know, all like Novikov. You know, granted they weren't maybe on the best form, but neither were any of us. So, you know, you got to take those wins or take those kind of victories when you can.
If you're competing, you know, and you beat guys, you take it.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
you know as well as me, you're not always in your best form, but that's what competitions are, and that's why we have them.
Yeah.
If it was just one competition a year, it'd be pretty boring.
True, actually, very true. Yeah, so it's nice. No, it's just kind of, again, the whole kind of realization that I can maybe make a career of it and make something off myself rather than just be stuck in an oil rig till I'm, you know, 65, 70. It's just not something that is very attractive to me at the moment. So fingers crossed, you know, we can carry on and just see where the journey takes us.
So you're not working on the oil rigs anymore?
No. So we've kind of, the last job I did in the rigs was out in January this year. So kind of 6 months ago, I guess, just before Britain's, I finished up and just made the decision to really kind of push on a wee bit. So we're doing a wee extension in the gym, kind of doing the gym up during lockdown. So another few weeks that should be finished. The merchandise wise, that's going quite well. Obviously, this year was going to be one of the busiest years yet for us, for all the competitors, but that's kind of scunnered a few things. But I mean, it's nice that the kind of, you know, as yourself as well, getting sponsors as well backing you. That's helped a lot as well. So financially, I'm not anywhere near as, you know, comfortable working in the oil rigs. You know,
it's a good job you're giving up, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, from a personal life aspect, myself and Cushy, getting to see my dad every day, you know, Tom, Harry, Jodie, Nicky, my other kind of siblings, it's awesome being able to see them. So I'm very fortunate, and I know the other side of having to go away and work, you know, six weeks away in the rigs and stuff. It's not nice doing that. So that's why I'm really trying to give it my all, because I don't want to be doing that, man. It's tough. I miss you know, our wee dogs and stuff, and Cushy, and sometimes I want to get away from Cush sometimes, but I mean, that's every marriage, I think that's like that. She'll probably say the same thing about me, but it's, yeah, I feel very kind of fortunate at the moment that kind of companies are seeing the potential in Tom and myself and kind of backing us, which is, again, I don't think I ever thought that was kind of possible when I started. So yeah, it's cool that people are seeing that kind of potential in us. And
Well,
just,
you guys have both put the work in. I mean, how many years have you been doing Strongman for now?
2013, I think, the first
Yeah, I remember a skinny Luke Stoltman coming onto the scenes, and you could tell you're a good athlete, but
yeah.
you were nowhere near the athlete that you are now.
No, yeah, man. It's I guess it's just consistency and that belief, believe in the process that you're kind of going towards. And for me, it was kind of, I don't know, it all happened quite quickly for me. I did Scotland's Strongest Man the first year, won that, and then the Giants Live in Gateshead, and then pretty much every other year, because there wasn't any other Scottish guys that were invited to it. It was just the winner of Scotland's Strongest Man. So my kind of face fitted maybe a little bit. I guess, I don't know, I like a chat, I like a wee blether and stuff. I'm not scared of having a conversation with people, and I think that really helped me kind of maybe cement my kind of place in the Giants Live shows. And then obviously as time goes on, you increase in strength and stuff, and yeah, kind of seems like I'm part of the furniture now. You know how it is. You've been doing it for about 50 years now, Laws.
It feels like it.
Yeah, so it's nice to kind of, with all the guys, we all have that kind of nice bond and get together, and that's what's so nice about it. I remember I said it before, I think we were chatting, and I still remember the first year at Giants Live Gateshead, Britain's Strongest Man, speaking to you, and you said, probably won't remember, I was just, like you say, just some skinny little rant, but I was like, oh, I'm quite nervous, and you just said to me, look, just enjoy it. You don't get chances like this that often, and you're one of the small kind of few that get to do it, so enjoy it. And that's something that really stuck with me, because obviously looking up to yourself and Terry and Mark Felix, I mean, it was nuts for me to come down from the Highlands and compete against yourself and the rest of the lads. So that's something that's really stuck with me, is just to enjoy it. And I mean, I love it, man.
I think that really comes across when people watch you. They can see that you enjoy it. They can see you're having fun. And I mean, even just watching you I want to talk more about competitions and the log and et cetera later, but watching your log as part of the World Ultimate Strongman Feats of Strength, as a fan, it was my favorite episode, even though you failed the rep.
Right.
Because I think you allow people to sort of get to know your personality. You allow people in, and you're a heart on your sleeve type of guy. When you're down and you're upset, you let us see it. Whereas maybe some of the Eastern European guys, they're just a lot more stern. They're almost like robots. Whereas you're quite emotional, and when you're happy, we know about it. When you're sad, we know about it. And I like that. I think it's sort of, particularly as a fan, you just want to be, because otherwise we're just all the same guys lifting weights up and down. We need to, I'm trying to talk from a fan's perspective now. You want to be able to get behind an athlete and really support someone. And I'm not trying to give you a big head, but like from a fan's point of view, I love watching you. I think you just let that emotion out, and it's always enjoyable whether you're winning or not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I see it as again, we live in such a small town here, so I've loved training in the gym since I was about 16. Every time I go into the gym training, I'm buzzing. I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time. But then obviously when it's serious, I kind of try and switch on. So when I got the chance to compete in front of people, that love just kind of intensified 100 times or 1,000 times for me, because, oh goodness me, you got crowds, like 10, 12,000 people cheering for you. I mean, if you can't, I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe if they're booing me, it would be a different story. But the fact that people are actually taking their time out to cheer, and it's so touching, man. It's so yeah. I mean, going back to the log, the kind of, it felt very intimate. It was like, this is kind of part of who I am. This is my gym. This is my training kind of environment and everything. So it was very intimate and very personal. So I was gutted, obviously, at the time when I mean, obviously you're not letting people down, but at the time, yourself, we all fail lifts. We all kind of don't do so well in competitions, and you do feel like you've let your family down, and people that watch you and support you. So it was like a genuine thing. It was like, look, guys, I could have messed up, I effed up, and but give me another chance, and I know I'll get it, because I know it's in me. But I can't control how I am. I'm very kind of, I'll be crying one minute, I'll be laughing the next minute. And certainly with Tom, remember Tom the first year in Botswana when he was competing, I had sunglasses on the whole time when he was doing it, because I was crying. I had tears in my eyes the whole time, man, because it's that raw emotion that
and you're a fair bit older than Tom as well, aren't you? So you're like almost like a father figure anyway, aren't you?
I guess. Because Tom and I spend so much time together. We train together. We travel together. We do a lot. So, I know Tom's potential. We all know Tom's potential. But what I would hate for Tom to do is get involved in the wrong people that are taking advantage of Tom. So, like, I really try and, not that there is anyone. Yeah, protecting. That's all it is. I just want the best for Tom, and I want him to live up to his true potential, I think, as we all do. So, I'd say a father figure to a certain point. Sometimes maybe I make a few bad choices, as we all do. So hopefully Tom doesn't follow in those footsteps. But
maybe somewhere in between father and brother figure.
Father. Maybe somewhere in between there. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you started training when you were 16.
Yeah.
Take me back to that. How did you get involved in training? What was it that just made you really think this is for me?
So it's a funny story. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe it's just me being stupid. I used to work in a fish factory when I was 16. So I was in college 4 days a week, and then I used to be in a fish factory, so chopping heads of big salmon and all this stuff. And there was a lad there, a boy, Mikey Brown. I'm still friends with him today. He still trains. So he was like the big guy in work, and he was saying, "Oh, I can lift this, I can lift that." I'm like, "Oh, shut up, mate. I can lift more." Like there was like crates of salmon and stuff, and I said I can bench over 100 kilos, and just in the wind up. So he took us into the gym when I was 16. So we did a bench press, and he's saying he can do 5 reps at 100, whatever, 220s aside. So we put 120 on, 60. I got like 3 kind of dodgy reps. I was like, oh, let's put the 100 on. And so I took the 100 off, and it just collapsed on me. And that was like, I'm like, Jesus, how can this guy do so much more than me? I was like, I couldn't quite comprehend the difference of levels. So that was my kind of starting point in the gym. And again, we're kind of roughly the same age, but back then there wasn't any like smartphones and things like that. You could, record all your lifts. Back then it was just, you went in to train, and that's all we did. So I had quite a few guys. One of my best mates, Lewis, we trained together and went up through the kind of lifts together. And I don't know, it was just an easy progression to training. And the routine of it for me was quite simple to get into. So it was more bodybuilding. I used to love watching Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Flex Lewis. I still watch Flex, he's class. Being a British guy as well from Wales, so it's, and Dorian Yates, managed to train with Dorian down in the Temple gym when he was still here.
You trained with him?
Yeah, trained with Dorian, I'm sure there's a picture. We went down to Body Power before I started doing Strongman, and it was like fanboy, went down, paid him to train in the...
Because he was like notorious for having real brutal sessions, wasn't he?
Oh, that was horrendous, man. It was like, negative, controlling your negatives. And, at the time, I think I was doing incline, with like 160 incline on for negative reps. He said, "Come on, Strongman, give me 5 more." Like, that was quite funny, because I'd never done Strongman. It was just purely bodybuilding I was doing. And then after that, just kind of, with work and the rigs and stuff, bodybuilding was very hard to, with the physique and stuff, it's very, very hard and very kind of strict in the diet, and my lifts were going up. And then, just did first competition, I was 27. I think it was 26, 27 in Inverness, a deadlift comp. Won that, met a guy that I know now, one of my best friends, Peter McDonald Brown. He says, "Oh, why don't you do Scotland's Strongest Man?" I'm like, oh, shut up. Don't be stupid. Those guys are like, because you see them on TV, like Ken Nowicki, there's boy Lee Allen, a few other kind of old school boys that were doing it. And I was like, not a chance, mate. I'm watching them in UKs. And then thankfully went down to the qualifier, won that. Big Stephen Cherry as well, you know,
Yeah.
class, great athlete. Went on to the final, managed to win that, and then won it for the next 5 years until Big Tommy came along and out-championed me. So yeah, it's kind of nice, I guess, just a slower kind of progression for me into strongman. I think because up here there wasn't anything when I started training. There was no log press, there was no Atlas stones. We just had gym equipment, you know,
Yeah.
and probably the same with yourself, you know. It wasn't.
Yeah, all of like I think our age and older,
Mm,
there was nothing when we
yeah.
started. You know, absolutely nothing.
But now there's everything. Now you can get anything, which is incredible.
I'm sure the younger athletes just get fed up of me saying how lucky they are these days. But it really is. It's so
Oh,
much more accessible than it was, you know, even 10 years ago. And I'm sort of going back 17, 18 years ago when I started, and there was nothing back then. There was a few places. There was a place in Worcester,
right,
Area 51 or something like that was called,
right,
and they had a few bits of kit, but it was like their yoke was just a set weight. It wasn't
right.
like a loadable, you know, it was 360, and if you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it.
All
There
right.
was no warming up like we can now with all the loadable kit.
That's how you got so good at yoke, just warming up with 360. That's the trick, isn't it?
It was very different. I mean, even at comps, there was no warm up. So if it was a 400 kilo yoke, you'd pick it up, see stars, put it down, and that was your warm up.
Crazy, isn't it? Like to
Yeah.
think, like now it's just so much more advanced and so much more attainable. You know, I think that's the good thing with strongman, because it's not, you don't have to necessarily look a certain way or, you know, be a certain way. You can, all you're doing is being strong, you know, and anyone can really attain that strength over time. It's just that consistency and, I suppose,
And
self-belief.
that's a great point as well, because I mean, you get a lot of people. I mean, I did a video recently on the youngest guys ever to get to World's Strongest Man, and obviously Tom's on there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other athletes like yourself that start later
Mm-hmm.
and don't progress quite as quickly. You know, it's slower progress. You said you were 27 when you started Strongman,
right. Yeah.
and you've been training since you were 16 up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you've proved, like, as long as you keep getting better each year, that's the most important thing. I'm sure you get this as well, because I get loads of young lads messaging me. They're like, I'm 16, I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah.
Is that good? I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is, are you going to keep progressing? And that's the key to being good, is getting better every single year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
No,
you've done that every year. You've got stronger, bigger, better,
yeah,
and your results are showing.
for sure, man. I mean, that's, people ask me, oh, when are you going to give up? And I still feel like I'm 21 years old. You know, I'm still bouncing around like I'm having the time of my life. So that's not even, God willing, you know. And you know, if I can carry on doing it, then I will, because it's all I look for. Like you just said, as an athlete, as a professional athlete, which I am now, is progression in my sport. And as long as I'm progressing, which I've done in abundance this last 2 years, it's like, and even since the start of the year, giving up work, that's just, you know, paid off tenfold now. So, I mean, I was hitting a 200 log just maybe a couple of years ago, year and a half ago, and I'm just missing out on 230. So
Fraction away.
it's not bad, you know. It's there's hope for you yet, guys. Stick in. So yeah, I think, yeah, you're right with those. It was funny. I was speaking to Cushy in the car, and just mentioned to her, I'll get these messages. There's a few in the DMs, you know, on Instagram from a few 16-year-olds. Oh, I'm lifting this, mate. What do you think? And blah blah blah. And do you remember Muscle Talk?
Yes.
Yeah, the forum.
Yeah.
So I was saying to Kush, we never had that like growing up, but I remember being about 18 or 19, and there was a forum. It was like, list your best lifts, and like whatever. I just listed them, and people were like calling me out saying, "Oh, you're talking rubbish. It's not it." And like, it was funny thinking that I was that wee pleb back then, like looking for kind of like gratification from others, you know, saying, "Oh yeah, you're doing well," and I guess that's what these guys are doing. But if you give them that sense of, yeah, you're doing really well, you almost want to say, yeah, you're doing fine, but you always can do better. Like you say, keep that consistency up. And
Well, to be honest, when Tom was sort of bursting on the scene, there's a lot of people online saying he's going to be the next world's strongest man and stuff like that. And yeah, we can all see that potential.
Mm,
But
mm,
I've seen so many youngsters burn out very, very quickly, and I
sure.
was just like, just let him keep progressing. Let
Yeah.
him don't put that pressure on him. And
Mm,
then all of a sudden, he's really blossomed, and it's great to see, and he's coping with it brilliantly. But
yeah.
I think often that these youngsters, especially when they get good very quickly, you see it with Kevin Nee. Kevin Nee was
Mm-hmm.
a great example. I've got Kevin coming on actually at
Oh,
some
really?
point, so looking
Oh,
forward
wow.
to chatting to him. But he was the youngest guy ever to get to Worlds. At 19 years old, he was competing at World's Strongest Man, deadlifting 400 kilos. You know, one of the strongest guys on the planet at the time. And
Huge,
the
yeah.
400 kilos back then
Oh,
was monstrous.
mm.
You know, it wasn't like now where everyone deadlifts 400 kilos.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
was probably a handful of guys. That was it. And you know that everyone was talking big things about him. By 24, he was finished.
Shame, man. Yeah, I
And I've
remember.
seen like, do you remember Jack McIntosh?
Yeah, yeah, Big Jack. Aye, yeah, yeah.
Really great athlete, you know, British athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And then he vanished. And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it so many times with
Yeah.
like these youngsters that they come on the scene really quickly and
Mm-hmm.
then they don't keep progressing. And that's why I say it's so important to just keep progressing.
Yeah.
You see, Adam Bishop's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
just steadily getting better each year.
Mm-hmm.
Zydrunas is probably the best example
Oh, for sure, man. Jeez.
because,
Yeah.
you know, you think when he started 20 odd years ago when he
Mm.
started,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was good, but he wasn't incredible. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and there was
Mm-hmm.
guys like Mariusz Pudzianowski who was dominating, and
Mm-hmm.
Zydrunas just kept getting better each year, and he started to surpass those type of guys, and you know, ended up being, in my opinion, the greatest of all
Oh,
time.
sure, yeah,
And
definitely.
even now, he's still going. I can't see him getting back to his best anymore, but he still just seems to love it and want to keep
Oh, yeah, man.
competing. And
Crazy.
you know, you'd never back against him.
Oh,
He's
you can't.
so talented, and
Yeah.
if he's driven, you never know. But you certainly don't need to be 19, 20 and lifting super numbers to be a
No,
great athlete. You just need to, like you have, like I have, other guys, keep progressing, keep getting better, keep looking at what you can improve on.
for sure, man. That's what everyone should be doing in any sport you do. It's like you want that kind of progression. As long as you're progressing, um, like that's what my worry was with Tom actually when he did first come on the scene. You know, it was 1 minute he was kind of this scrawny little bugger of a boy, and then you know the next minute he's lifting 300 kilo deadlift in the gym, and I'm like, where did that come from? You know, it's just over the course of like a few months, and because I was working away all the time. I'd left them in the capable hands of another good friend of mine, a boy, Matthew Forth. So when Tom first came to the gym, he probably won't tell you this, but when he first came to the gym, Tom was very, very shy with his Asperger's and stuff. So he'd come in, his head would be down like that. He wouldn't say anything to anyone. So I introduced him to a couple of guys, and Matt, really good friend, brilliant guy, so much patience with Tom. So when I went offshore for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, Matt would train with him, and literally the only words they said was hi. Tom would say hi, and then bye. That was it. Like, just Matt would lead the session, show Tom what to do, and because of that kind of patience with Matt and a couple of other guys, that really kind of helped Tom kind of blossom into. I mean, you see Tom now; he's full of beans and chatting, and just a big dafty now. He's just on a different planet. But yeah, back then, so it was just trying to be really patient with him and try and kind of teach him the techniques and stuff. And that's the most important thing when you're young, is to really install that technique, is get that and then building it and then lift the heavier stuff. You know, it's just, like you say, it's just that curve. As long as the curve's always going up, it's, yeah, we're all good. As soon as you start to kind of drop down, you need to reassess your training and your diet or whatever else it is you want to look into. So yeah, definitely progression and consistency. That's the number one for me over anything.
Oh, that's good. It's great seeing. I think for both of you having each other. I mean, obviously for Tom having you to look at to start with, it probably did help him progress a lot quicker than maybe. I mean, he's got incredible genetics. We
Yep.
know that you both got great genetics.
Mm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be at the level you're at. But having someone like yourself to look at, to be inspired by, and to want to work towards is going to help a younger brother. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, even we were chatting about it, Tom and I, the other week there. It's the TV aspect of it all. You know, some people just crumble, you know, when they're there by themselves for the first time. You've got this big crowd watching you. You've got the camera in your face, and it's so nerve-wracking initially when you do that. So for Tom to have me there to almost feed off, That's what it was kind of like at the start. It was like maybe we'd do interviews together, and obviously I'm the more, or I was back then, maybe the more chatty guy and whatever, and then Tom would come in with a few kind of, you know, bits of his own, and that kind of really helped him gain that confidence over that period of time. Because I think Tom said himself, if he really struggled with that initially, he's like, the first show he did, they were putting cameras in his face, and he's just, oh, this isn't for me, I hate it.
Well, how old was he in his first comp?
So the first one was Doncaster, the last year in Doncaster, I think, the first Giants Live he did, which would have been four years ago, maybe.
15?
Maybe 2015, 2016, whatever it was. It was. I think it was the one when we did the yokes together. Tom and I were.
2016, I think.
2016, I think that was. Yeah. So I think that was the first. He did Scotland's before that and stuff, but then after a couple of years doing that, obviously the brother aspect came into play, and then obviously Colin and Darren maybe thought, "Oh, this is a money maker."
Yeah.
And hopefully it's made you some money, Colin and Darren. But so that was his kind of first year, and he just didn't really enjoy it. The nerves got to him, and back then Tom's mental game wasn't as good. So I think he's learned how to become that kind of athlete, maybe through seeing yourself, me, Terry, you know, all the kind of guys there, and learning from them. But certainly I think he had me to pull him along the initial part, and now he's just his own man. He's doing whatever he wants now. He's just a beast, man.
He is. I've seen some of the training that you guys are doing, and he's looking strong.
It's ridiculous. It's just I hate standing next to the bugger now. It's just
what's he weighing right now?
What did he 174, I think.
What are you weighing?
Yeah, I'm about 160, 161 at the moment.
It's a good weight for you.
Yeah. I'll maybe, obviously, for whatever's happening next, I don't know if we can say. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, you probably can.
So, like the next records that we're attempting, I'll kind of increase the body weight up to maybe another 3-4 kilos. You know, just keep. Obviously, I'm working with Nathan now, pro body coach.
How's that working out? It's good.
Really good, actually. Really, just I'm I don't know. It's kind of the proof's in the pudding for me. So the first week working with Nathan, he kind of stripped my diet back, kind of cut out the sugars and stuff, and explained what he was doing, and just made perfect sense for me. It was, you know, basically kind of manipulating your insulin levels to give you more performance. You know, so spiking your insulin before training and stuff. And the proof's in the pudding. You know, you see the guys he's working with, so it's not like, you know, I'm not eating chicken and rice. It's fine if you want to be lean and whatever, but let's not.
It's all about performance, isn't it, for us?
Exactly, yeah. So when it's a performance-based diet, it's got to work pretty quickly. You know, let's change this for the first couple of weeks and then boom. So it was kind of a bit nervous going into it because I've never had that before.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it's more investing in yourself and, again, believing that process. And
that's what all the top guys are doing now. You know, they're taking on coaches, they're taking on nutritionists, they're putting a lot of time into rehab and physical rehab, not alcohol rehab. But you're just making sure that your body's, you know, your business at the end of the day. It's your tool, and you need it to be as effective as possible. So
I mean, it's massive. That's it. You know, the recovery aspect. So again, that comes down to diet. If your diet's rubbish and you're eating crap food, your recovery isn't going to be as good. So if you don't recover as good, then you're not going to perform as good. So it's all interlinked, isn't it?
And it's all. I mean, I have like two kind of thought processes with this. I think I understand the top guys doing it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the beginners doing it.
Yeah.
And for people that are watching, you got to understand when you're one of the top athletes in the world. Well, you take the top 50, say top 50 strongmen in the world. There's not a huge amount of difference between them in terms of ability. Yeah, some are better at some events, some are better at others, but the standard overall isn't huge. So what you're trying to do then is find those, you know, last 5% to really excel yourself to that top 10, top 3, top 1 level. You're always trying to work out those small percentages. But now I see like complete beginners that are so focused on doing everything that the top guys are doing and almost bankrupting themselves, to be honest, to do it.
You can
Like,
want to enjoy it. Yeah.
if you had a young Scottish lad coming up to you now, what
Mm.
would be your 3 most important things that they need to focus on?
Basically, number one for me is getting in, day out, following that kind of routine. Making sure you get to the gym. Don't make any excuses for you not to train. It's literally just come to the gym, and be able to get your hands on the apparatus. So, log press. Log press is such a unique implement. If you can do push press, you can do whatever, but unless you get that log press, you're never going to do it. So it's have that equipment, and it's, again, like you said, it's to enjoy it. It's enjoy the process. Don't take yourself so seriously. Set yourself realistic goals, saying 4 years time, let's kind of assess where I'm at. It's almost like like a sparky or a plumber. You're doing your trade. You got your 4 years kind of apprenticeship. Do that, and then let's talk again in 4 years' time. If you can prove to me that you've put in the work for 4 years, I'll let you train the gym for free. I'll help you with anything I can. But it's almost, you have to prove yourself before people will kind of see you as a serious kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's,
none of the top guys were given everything right from the start. They've all had to. I know, like when I was starting out, and even when I was on my way up, I had nothing, no sponsors, no nothing. It just, but I did it because I loved it. I
exactly.
love training, and I
Yeah.
remember some of my early sessions just getting into the gym and just getting beasted by these older guys in the gym, because they kind of put me in squats, like high rep squats, high rep leg pressing. They wanted me walking out of the gym, or crawling out of the gym. That's what they wanted.
No, for
But
sure.
it toughened me up. It sort
Yeah.
of, it created that mental toughness. And as important as I will say, as if you're a beginner, focus on technique. Having good solid technique
for
will
sure.
help you out down the line. But
Mm.
just getting in the gym and training consistently, eating consistently, eating enough food, the right kind of food. You don't need to sort of complicate it at that level.
No.
I think you're going to get very good if you're getting good quality sleep, training hard, and eating and staying hydrated. You're going to make huge progress. And if you can't make progress doing that, you're not going to get to the top level.
Very good point. Yeah. That's the kind of basics. It's, you got to do the basics, and then if you see that kind of improvement quite quickly, then okay, there's some potential there. If not, maybe reassess and choose something else. It's just not easy. Yourself, Laws. It's like I'm sitting here, my knees are in agony from yesterday's session. It's not a nice way to be feeling, but again, you have to be able to love that. It's like, yeah, I had a good session yesterday, so my body's going to be sore today. That's just what happens. But you've got to just
As you get
accept.
older, mate.
Oh, jeez, aye. Well, Tom was saying it today, so that was a nice touch, actually. I didn't want to say anything. I said, "How are you feeling today, Tom?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a bit sore." I was like, "Oh, good. God, thank goodness for that." So, yeah, definitely. It's just having fun, though. You know how it is, like in the gym when you're young. Set yourself little kind of competitions with your mates, and I mean that's what we did when I first started. It's like, first to bench 100 kilos or squat, whatever, and just keep doing it, and just be monotonous. Keep doing it in, day out, and kind of try the different programs, whatever, the volume training, the 5x5, 3x3, whatever.
Try
Just
it all,
because you don't know what's going to work. It is, as a coach, you can program something for someone, it'll work. Program the same person for something else,
exactly.
no results. So
it's something I tell all my clients is when you kind of start with me as a coach, it's a learning process for both of us to figure out what works best for you. And I've tried every single training method there is over the years, and you figure out what works best for you. And sometimes you do need a bit of like a push in that you need to be forced to do the things that you don't want to do. But like you said, just keep it fun. If you're enjoying it and you're having fun with it, you'll most likely stick with it, which will allow you to progress. Don't expect to be the world's strongest man in 1 year. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was the case. Then Jesus,
Well, it's
that's a worry. If someone could do that,
that would be scary.
Yeah, I'd retire then. I'd be like, "Nah, mate, you're fine." But yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. It's just people take themselves a little bit too seriously sometimes, and I kind of, we forget. I think not to be too kind of downing, whatever, but like, things happen in life where it kind of makes you realise that, let's not take ourselves too seriously, because you could be gone tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's like as simple as that. If do something you love, and if that thing that you love can pay your way in life, brilliant. If it
Well,
can't,
you said at the start there, you've taken a pay cut to be a pro strongman.
Oh yeah.
And strongman is getting better, and we've got abilities to earn a bit more money now. But you're someone that had a really good secure job, but you're loving what you're doing. You said you're happier, you're enjoying it, but you had to get to a certain level to be able to do that. And that's what I'm trying to get the point across to people is, enjoy it. Don't be asking for sponsorship as a, if you've been training 3 to 6 months, it's just pointless, because most sponsors, they're not going to look at you anyway. It's about getting better, getting in the gym, enjoying it, having fun. Don't worry about the pro level, and then focus on your first novice comp. Do that, enjoy it, learn from it, progress, get to an intermediate comp, get to an open comp, and then you can start looking at all those other things if you're still enjoying it after 3, 4, 5 years down the road.
Yeah, definitely. It's people just look for that kind of quick way or the easy way, and expect I think we expect a lot of stuff for nothing sometimes, especially in Scotland. We're very tight, especially me. It's but it's just but you don't need much to be a strong man. You need a gym membership, a belt, some deadlift straps, and it's not much, is it?
No, it's not like golf or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And they last. Your belts and stuff last for a long time. So you got SPD, you got all other companies out there that cater for everyone. So it doesn't cost an awful lot, and just get that membership, join that decent gym where you can train, and you get some gyms now that don't let you deadlift and all the rest, so just stay away from that.
If you go into a gym that doesn't allow chalk and it doesn't allow you to deadlift, go somewhere else. Yeah, especially if you want to be a strong man.
Well, yeah, just politely say, thank you for the induction. I'll be leaving the gym now. Good day, sir.
So how's your gym going? Obviously, COVID's not. But
it's man, it's good. It's very it's nothing fancy what we've got up here, but for where we are, we've got a little extension on it. We put some AstroTurf out the back. So we've been working on improving it during lockdown. So I'd ideally like it to be like, I've said this to the girl, Stacey and Tom, that we kind of run the gym with. So I want the gym to be like a hub in the Highlands. So there's always something going on. So like maybe yourself will come up and train. Like maybe once a month we have someone come up and just keep that kind of buzz about the place and have it almost like an exclusive kind of place, and invite people. So I met a young lad, one of my friend's sons, he's 15, but he's the UK discus champion. Didn't have a clue, didn't know that he was here. So we've got like a British champion just 5 miles away from me, only 15. So that's the type of guys I want to be hitting up and say, look, come in, let's do some strength and conditioning work on your explosive power. Don't worry about the gym membership because you're a proven champion already. Let's kind of take you to the next stage and really try to find that next batch of kind of athletes up here, because again, in the Highlands, sometimes it can be the glass is always half full. I like to think it's always half empty. I like to think it's always half full, so keep that kind of positive kind of mental attitude going, and kind of try and boost people up here. Whether or not it'll happen or I'll be bankrupt in a few months, I don't know. So we'll just see what...
I've got to say, I think, but both yourself and Tom, you've really brought the level up in Scotland. I know you've had Scott down training with you. I train him, and he's improving. I think he hit a 20 kilo PB, didn't he, with you guys?
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
That was brilliant.
One of my highlights of anything, I think, seeing Scott. So he did it 3 times and he failed. And then big Zaki Maluzi, he was just going to go for some reps at 160. And Scott said, fuck it, I'm going for it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Simon, quickly, get on the camera. And then Scott just went up and he just smashed it.
He hit it perfectly.
We were buzzing, man. It was like just the hype there was just, and Scott, I love Scott, man. He's
a good lad, isn't he?
Gem of a boy, man. And his Mrs. Maisie as well. So they were both up, but it was a shame because Maisie and Kush just went to the shops to get some food for after training. And then that's when Scott went for the log. So Maisie missed it, so she was gutted. But just so nice to, when you have those sessions that everyone's just on form. Big Zaki hit a 181 log.
Brilliant.
Hit a 200 for a double.
But look now, you've got like a real group of good guys up in Scotland now. Whereas before you guys came along, I mean, no disrespect to the older guys, because there's always been some decent guys, but you've really brought the whole standard up. You know.
Yeah.
At one point, like you said, there would be one British guy invited to the Brits, and it was kind of a token invite. You know, it really was.
Yeah.
The Scottish guy would end up coming somewhere around the bottom of the table.
Yeah.
At Britain's this year, did you have 3 guys?
3 guys, yeah. Tom, myself, and John Pollock.
So 3 guys out of 12 athletes competing, and all very obviously 2 on the podium. And John's a great competitor. He was doing well.
Yeah.
And then you've got the likes of Zaki and Scott and Lewis and other guys up in Scotland that are doing really well now. And then there's new guys. There's new younger guys and women up in Scotland that are doing really well. So you've definitely brought the standard up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just maybe made people realise that, you know, just because we're from Scotland, I don't know if there was like a mental barrier, a mental block. I really don't know, because, you know, you go back years, I always say this, you go back like a few hundred years ago, Scottish warriors, you know, were feared all over the world. You know, it's like Braveheart.
The Highland Games athletes as well, not even as long back as that.
Yeah, you know, it's like the manhood stones go back thousands of years, and we've got all this history, you know, of strength. So why aren't we doing it? You know, it's like, it just didn't make any sense to me, and I'm like, am I missing something? Why haven't we had like any top guys? And I just felt, for me, I just wanted to really, I'm very passionate about being from Scotland, and extremely passionate about, you know, being from the Highlands, because I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I'm a passionate person for that, and I was very confused as to why there wasn't any other guys, or wasn't as many guys kind of doing as much as they could do. So, and that's not a disrespect, because we've had great, you know, Ken Nowicki, Stephen Cherry, great past champions, but I think maybe Stephen certainly was a little bit unlucky in the injury sense of things.
He got a lot of injuries, didn't he? Yeah.
So that was just kind of bad luck for him, and Ken's moved out to the States and stuff, and so I think that kind of drove me a little bit to succeed. You know, it was like, I'm going up against you boys, you know, down south. Like, I'll show you Southern Fairies. It was done, but that never happened. And so, but it's fighting against that. Obviously, when I started, there was that kind of circle, if you will. You know, it was like you guys that were kind of at the top, and to break into that, it was kind of very difficult, because you guys world class athletes, you know, and for such a prolonged period of time, it was that really dominating kind of force you guys had. So it was tough, but I mean, you just have to have that belief, and again, consistency, progression, keep doing, you know,
keep knocking on the door, keep getting better.
That's all you can do. So it's and Bish said the same, you know, and Bish and I kind of came up at the same kind of time, I think. So, and Bish, like you say, Bish is a great advocate of the sport, and very kind of similar story. You know, we both came up together. So it's so hopefully we can just keep inspiring the next generation in Scotland, because if any of the young guys are listening, geez, just prove to me that you're serious. You know, show me a couple of years worth of videos, and you know, I'll let you come and train in here. I'll do whatever I can to help you, because I think that's what it's about for us. It's about training the next batch of guys and showing them and sharing some of this stuff that we know. You know, it might be right, might be wrong, but just kind of sharing experience.
I think Strongman's a pretty friendly sport, and that we all share advice, and you know, well, most of us do. I think, you know, most of us like, try this, you know, try that. Oh, this worked for me, and that's, you know, before social media, particularly. That's how we learned. Whereas now there's a lot more information out there now, which is fantastic, and people can watch like the YouTube channels and see what we're up to, and you know, you guys are doing a great job with that. And it's also entertaining as well as educational, and you know, I think it's brilliant, because there just wasn't any of that when we were starting. It was literally listen to the older guy in the gym.
That's all it was, wasn't it? And then,
whereas now you can listen to the top guys in the world giving you advice.
It's crazy, isn't it? And even like with the coaching aspect of it, there wasn't really anything like that back then, like strongmen coaches. So you know, there's an abundance of knowledge out there for people, and it's just, you just need to go out and find it. You know, do a bit of Googling and whatever else, what other search engine you want to use. You know, YouTube's there, everything's there, all the information's there. It's just harnessing that and using it the best of your abilities.
It definitely is, mate. So what's next for you? Obviously, this year has been very, very strange. Like you said at the
Mm,
start, it was supposed to be the busiest year.
yeah.
Even not competing, I had a lot of events I was supposed to be going to. And, I know you guys had a lot of competitions coming up that you're supposed to be
Mm,
focused on. I've enjoyed being part of the World Ultimate Strongman Feats of Strength.
mm,
There is rumours of a series 2.
mm,
Looks like there's a good possibility that's going to
yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
If it does, do you want redemption on that log?
Oh, 1,000,000%, man. Yeah, it's given me some nightmares. That can't tell you how many times I've watched it back. So it's yeah, it's something kind of. I mean, I've kind of vocally said that technically wise, I believe on my day I'm probably the best log presser in the world. And that's not saying I've got the strongest shoulders in the world, because I don't believe that, but the technique and everything, it just really works for me. So if I can just find that sweet spot and really hone in on that kind of that heavier lifts, I think I've got it. Well, I know I've got it. It's just a matter of time for me. But I mean, I want to push the boundaries. I don't want to. I'm saying 230, but I want to go heavier, man. I want to hit like 235 and just knock it out of the park. That's kind of where I would like to be.
What did you go for before in training? What did you go up to before
So
the 230 attempt?
228.5. That was my kind of max.
228.5.
Yeah, or 228.4. Sorry,
Okay.
it was just
Okay.
so that was just over 2 weeks prior.
Do you think that was a bit heavy doing that in training? Looking back,
So it's a tricky one. Sorry, my knee's locking up.
you're getting old.
So with that, I'm textbook stuff would say probably not to go as heavy as that, but for me, confidence is such a massive thing. So I hit that 228 and I had the most confidence I've ever had. Then I was like, oh, this is going to happen. Maybe in hindsight, knowing that I can hit that 228 and a half now, I maybe not go up as heavy in prep for the next time. Maybe I think I doubled 225 or 222, I think it was, in a session, so maybe a kind of heavier double would be more beneficial to kind of me, certainly in the closer stages of doing it. So yeah, I'm kind of looking, I'm reassessing. I train a little bit different for log. It's kind of a bit unorthodox. So basically,
we all have like our own things that work, and
yeah.
I just from a coach's point of view, I've noticed a few guys like you done it. Hicksy did it a few years back at one of the contests.
True,
You
yeah.
went really, really heavy in
Yeah.
training,
Mm-hmm.
and there's obviously that's going to tax the body, and it takes it out of you. And we all know you can't just keep adding weight. You can't just if we could, we'd all be deadlifting 800 kilos and doing 400 kilo logs, but that's impossible. You've got to kind of peak for the right time. And I mean, on a different day you could have had that log. So this is just hypothetical, but I think it would be worth holding back a little bit in training. Talking to Zadrunas as well, he was never going to these crazy numbers in the gym.
True.
Trying to make sure that the technique was spot on, and then he would lift the biggest numbers in comp. And it's clear to see you had that weight in you.
Yeah.
How many times did you clean it? That was incredible.
Yeah, man, that was still
4
hurting.
times?
Yeah, it was 4 times, yeah.
I said, I think on commentary, I think you're the best in the world, without question, at cleaning a heavy log. You're so efficient with it. The technique is just absolutely spot on.
Yeah. And it's something that kind of, we've done a lot of work on, like heavy sandbag kind of loading. That really helps for me getting my hips that kind of hip drive, hip extensions, whatever. But I find that really helps. And even doing stones as well, driving your hips forward with stones, it just really mimics the log kind of line that I have. But certainly I agree with you with regards to going not as heavy this time, because I mean, if I do the same again, I need to change it. It didn't work quite that time, so I need to reassess it, change it a little bit, and just maybe hold something back, like you said. Maybe do a triple at 220. Say, if I can do that, Jesus, that's amazing.
That would be incredible.
Like getting yourself something like that, or even 215 or something. Just, but like at the moment, so that's my thinking. So I'm up to, I think I just hit 215. Did I hit 215? last weekend, I think it was.
Nice.
So it's coming back, you know. So say we've got, I don't know, a couple of months to the next world record. So I was at kind of a little bit less. I think it was maybe 202 before when we got the kind of announcement for the log. And
So you got longer to train if it's going to happen again.
yeah, I think so. I mean, it's obviously still to be confirmed dates and stuff, but 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm confident that, excuse me, the log training's going to go good. But it was so in the build up to the last one. Just quickly, we normally train log. So I usually train log with Tom on a Friday. Sometimes me training with Tom, maybe a too much distraction or whatever. Tom's going for a heavy lift, and it's more, you know, Tom's kind of taking that energy, and that's fine, you know. So then maybe I wouldn't have a good session. So when I hit the 228 on the Friday night, I went in thinking I was going to have a good session, hit 190, horrible 190 log, and I'm like, nah, it's not happening tonight.
Yeah.
Kind of reassessed, came back in on Sunday night by myself to the gym. Had one of the best log sessions I've had in a
Funny,
long,
isn't it?
mad, you know. It's like that 2 days just, and they hit the 228 at 0.4, which was brilliant. But then seeing trying to weigh it after lifting that log off the ground, oh my god, I was in bits from doing that. So it's just, again, that mental kind of thing, you know. Sometimes it's just, you know, it's not there, and you got to kind of say, like, let's just back off this now, reassess, and then come back another day. So
I think it's really good for people to hear that you have bad days as well.
oh Jesus,
Because I mean, I've had plenty of bad days in the gym, and I get people message or clients message that they'll have a bad session, and they're devastated. And we are, you know, you're pissed off when you have a bad session, man. But we all have them. Yeah. You have them, I have them, Tom will have them. Mm-hmm. Eddie's had bad sessions, Brian Shaw's, Adrinas, everyone has those days. And you've all, like you say, you just got to move on to the next one. Come back, and the next one could be really good.
With a bad session, though, as well, you got to kind of critique yourself as to why you've had that session. It's, you know, what did you do the day before? Yeah. Oh, well, I missed a couple of meals, sleep wasn't as good, and, you know, there's always
hydration, stress, you know, there's loads of factors that
so much. And like, it's just knowing that why you had a bad session, you know. It's sometimes, like you say, things just don't go well. You're had a fight with the missus, or
it's quite funny. It's always like if clients message me and they're like, I had a real bad session, it's like, how was your sleep, how was your food, how was your hydration, what's the stress levels like? And they're like, oh, I missed these 3 meals, I haven't drank at all, me and the missus had a fight, blah blah blah. There's always a reason when you look back, you know, or some kind of
we're only human at the end of the day. So everyone goes through relationship stuff. You can't eat sometimes because it's too hot, you're feeling tired, whatever, you know. It's just one of those things. We're not saying every session has to be amazing, because
we're human. If we're not robots, like you say.
Not unless you're Matthias, big special care destroyer, man, the robot.
Friggin' crazy, isn't he?
He's just a robot. Oh, he's funny, man. So unless you're like, you know, like you say, the Eastern Europeans are maybe a little bit more robotic than us slowly Brits. But, we just do what we can do, man. Definitely.
So if the log happens, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of good log lifters out there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of them, because who I mean, you may get the chance to be the first to go for it again, but it would be great to see the likes of Bibby, the likes of Hicksy, you know, Kiliaskowski. There's a handful of guys that are all kind of closing in on that record. It's not going to last much longer. The exciting thing for me is, how high can you guys push it to? So give me your thoughts on that.
Jesus, man. You look at Bibby, what did he just hit? Like a 260 or whatever it was, standing push press, whatever it was.
Whatever the hell that weight was, even if it's like, it's his dodgy weights, and people will mention that. Let's say they're not, you know, they're not like the rogue kind of, you know, calibrated plates. Let's say it's 250.
Yeah,
even if it's 240, that's still a ridiculously big weight.
How strong. That's why I'm saying, like Iron Bibby pressing that. Hicksy, you see Hicksy's incline log press, phenomenal. You know,
he's looking strong.
Yeah, and like, that's why I'm saying I don't have the strongest shoulders in the world, because I'm not an idiot. And, you know, I'm not going to say that when these guys are throwing up that much weight. So, man, it'd be so cool to have, like, and I'm sure Luce would kind of think about doing that, you know, a log off between myself, Bibby, Hicksy,
So I think if they could do that, a bit like they did the head-to-head deadlift record,
Yeah, man.
that would get people excited.
Yeah.
A proper competition between
jeez, man, it'd
different
be so cool.
athletes.
Because they did that with CrossFit, one of the CrossFit Invitationals, Rogue Invitational. They did that, but they did it in a way that no one knew what was going on as well. So it was, you know, you can't kind of, oh, right, this guy's doing this.
It makes it really, really interesting to see what people would go for. And you'd have people probably try and do too much.
Yeah, yeah.
People might, you know, you could maybe have someone just go for 1 kilo more, but then someone else is going to go 2 kilos more. And it would be, I think it would be brilliant to see.
Awesome, man. And I think they should just open it to, I mean, Aaron Page, great log presser. I'm, you know, a massive advocate of Aaron. I think he's so powerful off his chest, explosive. I mean, it's just the way he attacks that log. Jesus, man, it's frightening. So it'd be great to see him get involved. Hicksy, I know Hicksy said he's got a bit of a sore knee at the moment. Mr. Banged it on his vagina.
Hicksy says he's got a bad knee and then strict presses 200 kilos like it's nothing.
He put a comment, he says, oh, great log press, you're best in the world. And I'm like, hi, mate, in a couple of weeks, you're going to triple 220 or something. So, you know, just take a Nurofen or something, you'll be fine. You know, Jesus, man. But no, hopefully he does, you know, whatever's up with his knee, I'm sure it'll kind of heal up. But he's looking just thick at the moment, Graham. And, you know, he's a proven great log presser. So
very much so.
I mean, Rob Kearney as well, off his back, the new American record that he did. Just be so cool to have all the boys, and for myself to be included. I'd still pinch myself to.
I would absolutely love to see that. Maybe like 5 or 6 of the best log lifters going head to head. Maybe we'll have to mention it to Wuss and see what they think of that idea.
I'd be buzzing with it, man. I wouldn't be able to sleep for weeks thinking about it. I'd be wanting to watch as a fan. You know, I'd be wanting to watch like Graham, Bibby, all the other lads do their logs because, you know, as a fan, you want to see it all. But
do you find it hard to be a fan? Because since I retired, it's easy to get back into fan mode, and I've always enjoyed Strongman. I've always been passionate about it. I loved watching the other guys. Yeah. But when you're competing, you do have that little bit of edge. Is like, I'm going to beat this fucker.
Yeah.
You know, when we were competing, Luke, I wanted to beat you. I'm not going to lie about it. You just got to a point where I thought, all right, he's better now. I'm going to retire.
No, man, for sure. You've got to have that because it's a competition. But I'm an idiot sometimes because I cheer. So I remember Ben Badger in Manchester last year, and I was screaming for him. Like, I'm competing there as well.
Yeah.
My throat went, and I'm just buzzing for him. I'm like, I've got to compete against. Fuck's sake, what am I doing? Just got to get warmed up. And same with Tom. You know, I'm like cheering Tom on. But yeah, I mean, when it's serious and like in Britain's, you know, you're. Obviously, Bishop, great guy, Bishop, you know, and I just want everyone to do their best. For me, I hate seeing people not do their best and kind of let the occasion get to them sometimes, and that kind of breaks my heart when I see, because we're all good friends, you know. It's like your friends. It was a shame. Eddie Hall talks about it. It was Luke Fulbrook, you know, that his training partner. Luke's such a strong guy, and so much time for Luke. And when he did Europe's a few years ago, it just seemed like I think he had a bit of an injury as well.
I don't even think it was Europe's. I think it was the British.
Was it British? Yeah, sorry, British, yeah.
And I trained with Luke and Eddie before that show. Yeah. He was so strong in the gym, so strong. But you actually see him physically shaking when he came out to lift. There are people out there that they do these incredible things behind the cameras, but they just can't seem to cope with it. I don't know if it's I think sometimes you can want it too much, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But unless you can control those nerves, it can almost consume you a little bit. Whereas someone like yourself, who can just be a little bit more laid back and enjoy the experience, seems to be able to perform better.
Yeah, and it's just gutting because you just want to go up and give them a cuddle or a shake and say, look, mate, whatever you do here isn't going to, you know, in a couple of weeks, it's not going to mean a massive deal.
No,
you know
exactly.
I mean? You're not going to lose friends from it. You're not going to lose family. You know, your wife or your family going to love you regardless. So let's just take it as it's supposed to be. It's a bit of fun, and it's so devastating sometimes seeing that. And that's what kind of gets to me is when people kind of really struggle, and I guess that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. You can't really teach people to deal with the nerves and stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously when I'm competing, I was thinking that again in the car. I'm thinking a lot in the car at the moment. Jesus. Like any comp I go into now, I'm wanting to win. You know, that's the thing. I'm not scared of anyone now when I'm competing against them. And that's the kind of mentality I've got to put into myself now. Yeah, I go in, have a bit of chat with everyone, have a good bit of crack, and, you know, we're all laughing and stuff. But when we're at the competition, I'm there to win. I'm there to beat Mateus, Brian Shaw,
Rightly so.
whoever, you know. So, and I think last year doing that in Worcester proved it, you know. So, and everyone else, that's what everyone else should be thinking. I want, like you say, when we're competing, you wanting to beat me. I don't want you to say, I want him to. That'd just be weird, you know. It's strange. So it's just having that mindset to kind of really believe in yourself, I think. And yeah, I'm starting to kind of believe that I'm all right, I guess. Yeah.
You're not too bad, mate. You're not too bad at all. So obviously, you know, it doesn't look like the arena shows are going to happen this year. We've unfortunately, Giants Live have announced that they're postponing the shows to next year now.
Yeah.
World's Strongest Man could still happen, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. Obviously, the situation's not great in America right now, but I am hopeful that Worlds can happen because they don't need a crowd.
Yeah, true.
So hopefully that will happen. There's rumors of a few other things that I can't really go into right now. But is it hard to train right now? I mean, I know you're focused on just getting strong in the gym, but is it hard as an athlete to stay motivated? Or is it just about staying ready for when the opportunity arrives?
I don't know. I think, again, because I enjoy training, I just like coming to the gym and lifting weights. You know, it's something that I've done for a long time, and Tom and I are very fortunate to have our facility that we've been able to train in during lockdown. So I think, if I was saying, oh yeah, I've struggled, oh poor me, blah blah blah, I've got no competitions, like people will be like, what?
There's more important things going on, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm doing people an injustice. So maybe it's not as kind of event wise. You know, that was the first time the weekend we did stones, we did some farmers. That was the first time I've done that since Britain's, I think. So, you know, that type of thing. Again, we're that far into kind of competing. You can pick those things up quite quickly. The gym lifts. So I've been really kind of deadlifts coming up now. For the first log attempt, I wasn't really that bothered about it. Just kind of keeping it quite light and focusing on the log. But I've decided to kind of just creep up. Nothing major in the deadlifts. Just keep it ticking over. Just in case worlds happen or any of these other stuff happen. As long as my gym lifts are kind of there or thereabouts, I'm happy. And again, it's just good crack because we do the YouTube stuff. Simon still films us, and we just have a laugh, you know. So it's a bit of kind of break from all the kind of atrocities that's going on in the world at the moment, and it's just nice to have a wee bit of a fun day, a wee spicy day for us. That's all it is.
Well, I'm going to come up to Scotland pretty soon, I think, and once maybe in a month or so, once the gyms are back open, I'd like to get up there and I want to have a go at some of the classic Scottish stones and come and see you boys. So that'll be good fun.
We've been saying we want to do the stone tour for a while, actually. There's a couple of stones around us that we can go and do, and it'd be awesome to do that, man. It's
good fun.
Obviously, you know, you're always welcome up in God's country, Laws, anytime you want.
Well, I appreciate that, mate. I'm going to let you get on, but we've got Tom coming on next week, which for those that want to listen out for Tom, he'll be on. Everyone that was following me knows who you are anyway, but let us know where your social media platforms are. Instagram, we'll tag your YouTube page.
Cool, man.
So people can see your spicy Stoltman fun.
It's my Instagram, it's just luke.stoltman. Do a search for Stoltman Brothers on YouTube, and also we've got the stoltmanbrothers.com for our merchandise and stuff, the spicy t-shirts and some cushy leggings coming out soon.
Cushy leggings.
Stay tuned. We'll
I have to look at some of them for Liz.
I was hoping you were saying Liz and not yourself.
I'm not worried about deadlifts anymore. So I had my leggings on a few years ago at Britain's. It wasn't a good look. People thought I'd tattooed my legs.
I'll leave that for Rob Kearney, the leggings.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with him in the leggings department.
They're so bright and beautiful.
Luke, it's a pleasure to have you on, mate. I
Pleasure.
will look forward to catching up with you in person soon.
Awesome,
Guys,
man.
I hope you enjoyed the chat with Luke. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you get over to the Stoltman's channel as well and watch all of their episodes. We'll be back with Tom Stoltman very, very soon. Take it easy.